my story. I'm going to just give you one of them out of five, okay? And this happens each and every single time. I don't know what county you are. I don't know what. Well, I would think you would be in California, considering I think this is what the group is. Correct. I'm in Southern Cali. I'm actually, well, I moved, but hold on. Sorry, I'm getting a message. Oh, okay, sorry about that. I got a email. Back to what I was saying. So in the county of San Bernardino, I mean, I was a former foster child since birth. I was actually born in Monterey Park, Los Angeles County. I was born and raised there, and up until my 18th birthday, when I aged out, I was never adopted. Excuse me. I was raised by my maternal grandmother, my mother's mom, and who's so the point is, I have tons of experience on both ends, on each side, you know. So my story with my kids, I'm not going to go through all of them. I'm just going to give you one little part of it, which is the part that you need to know. Sorry about that. So I'm trying to think which story is best for this. Okay, I'll just go with my firstborn, because that's where this all started, and that's where I had more of the complications with what you're having in that aspect. So I had my daughter, right? Excuse me. And I had her in the Inland Empire, which is like an hour away from Los Angeles, because I had actually moved to that area when I was like in my teens. Okay, so anyways, I had my daughter. She's now 9. Okay, so this is 9 years ago, 2013. Excuse me. I went to go have her. Everything was fine. I had no complications. I had actually, she was the only one out of all my 5 that I had all my other children natural, no epidural, nothing. But my firstborn, Sky Blue, excuse me, I did have an epidural with her, only because I did not know. Had I known what I know now, I wouldn't have, and I actually regret that. But I did. Okay, so, and hey, I was a first-time mom. I did, you know. So, as far as the allegations, because it's been even proven to be allegations. Okay, so I'm not really not going to go into that whole deal. I'm just going to focus on the drug testing part, because that's what you need help in. So the whole time I was there, I had no idea what was going to unfold. And so basically the whole time, the nurses, staff, they're like, oh, you're being such a good mom, and, you know, giving me praise and stuff, because I was, you know, being a hands-on mom, and something that I never even had myself. But hey, I always promised myself that I would never be anything like my mother. We can get into that story sometime later on. But anyways, sorry, I'm like losing my voice. Excuse me. So, long story short, I think it was about maybe for the second day or something, right before we were about to leave, and I had no idea that there was like it's not really a law or anything, but it's like their rules, right? To like, and it's not something you even have to abide by, because you can do whatever you want, especially for being a patient. Not too many people know that. But anywho's, so when it comes down to like the medical aspect and all that stuff, I know a great deal about it. So believe me when I say I know what I'm talking about. And I'm not saying you have to trust me, or I'm not saying to take my advice, but I'm just saying, yeah, just heads up. So, so I can, you know, help somebody never ever have to be in the same shoes or predicament that I ever had to go through. So, one of the nurses she comes in, and right after her walks in the hospital social worker, right? So this lady, she's African American, and Not to say I have anything against, I have family anywho's. So she comes in and she tells me that I had tested positive or something like that. And I said, excuse me? And when she said that, the first thing that went through my brain was, excuse me, well, okay. The only thing I in my mind that I could have was marijuana, because I am a medical marijuana patient, and that's for my IBS. I actually have a stomach disease, and when I get pregnant, at the time I only had one child, so when I was pregnant, I would get very severe morning sickness, and I would become very nauseous to the point of just debilitating, where I just couldn't do anything. And mind you, this is already like that before pregnancy, so just amplify that by like 20 or something. So I was approved to intake my I consider, or even the doctors consider, my medicine. It is. So, and that was only for the morning sickness, because it was that bad. So, but I had approval from my what do you call it, OB, whatever, the rest. So, anyways, that didn't matter. It's crazy because the way the story developed and how it started was, something as simple as that. But it wasn't even that. They just kept. Anyways, you'll understand. So, next thing I know, a couple of hours later, here comes the county social workers. There's two of them. I'll never forget these ladies. They were Caucasian. They were one was older, not too old. She was more like maybe like in her mid 40s. The other one was probably like in her late, maybe mid 30s. Okay, maybe. Anyways, and I will, to be quite honest, they reminded me of, I don't know if you are familiar with Ellen and her ex, the one that just died, Anne Heche or whatever. And anyway, so, and the older one, so she walks. They both walk in, but the older one, she walks in because she's more like you could tell she was a butch. She was very. Yeah, she just let her presence be known, put it that way. She tried to be intimidating. She was not intimidating to me, because I am from LA, and it's just so. And she comes in, and the first thing she tells me or asks me is not even to congratulate me or to say, hey, congratulations, you just had a baby. No, the broad asks me, hey, what do your tattoos mean? And at first it stunned me, because I just was appalled by just even that coming out of her mouth, the first, and it took me like a second for me to register that, to be like, and I think I was holding my daughter at the time, feeding her. This was like maybe like right before the sunset or something, maybe like around 5 at night. And so anyways, when she asked me that, I just was like, huh, what? And so I go, oh yeah, I look down at my arms. So I have, on each arm, I have my tattoos say cuts for luck and scars for freedom. Now, I guess whatever she wanted to, I don't know, maybe profile me or whatever. I mean, I don't look, I mean, to each their own, but I just could not believe that she wanted to use that as the first, thing to just like basically judgmental and just judge me by what, my tattoos. I don't have a lot of tattoos. Like, I have, in total, I have maybe like 3 or 4. But those tattoos, and they're not even that big. It's just the fact that they were on my arms, and that's, I guess, I never really, noticed that. But I guess, so, moving right along, I told her, and which is the truth, it's a title of a album, of a music album that is one of my favorites. It's a hip-hop artist. Anywho's, a female hip-hop artist. Anywho, so that was that, and then so they wanted to integrate us, which meaning me and the father of my children, and they wanted to do it separately, right? So I said, no. And because he had just came, he actually wasn't there. He was at work. He came from work to come, visit us, me and the baby. And so that was that. And another long story short, what ended up happening is somehow, I forgot if it was before or during or sometime during all this, okay? Mind you, while I'm over here, having either about to have my baby or having my baby or just had my baby, someone had called the hotline anonymously and made a report, allegations. I don't even think it was a hospital, to tell you the truth, because I remember one of the ladies told me, oh no, it wasn't anybody from the staff, it was an anonymous phone call. And I was just like, what? So it wasn't a mandated reporter, you understand? Hold on, stand by.